Poland, close to the place where that attack took place.
There are some reports that the military base that was struck was one where some foreign soldiers were being trained or receiving equipment, foreigners who had come in to fight with Ukraine. And of course, President Putin and the Kremlin had warned that military equipment coming from NATO countries into Ukraine would be seen as a legitimate target, and so perhaps that was the motivation behind that strike. Whatever the motivation, though, it has of course raised concerns not only for Ukrainians particularly in the west of the country, who had hoped that the western part of Ukraine was safer than what's happening elsewhere, but also, of course, for Poland, for example, because if the fighting intensifies around western Ukraine, that could spark a second wave of refugees to come across the border. This country, Poland, has already welcomed over 1.7 million people crossing the border from Ukraine. There are growing concerns here about the strain that is being placed on Poland, and if there is then a second wave of refugees coming across the border, well, that will only increase those concerns. Well, we spent a couple of days in a very beautiful border town called Zamość, which is about 2 hours north of here. It's close to the border, and it is a town that has a population of 60,000 people. And the mayor told us that sometimes up to 35,000 people a day are coming through that town. The reception centre has got about 5,000 people a day passing through it, and it is really struggling. Their volunteers are exhausted. They are running out of space at the reception centre and in other shelters and in private homes as well. And one municipal official there told me that she's worried that refugees will start having to sleep on the streets. So even though Poles are extremely proud of the welcome and the hospitality that they have shown to the Ukrainians so far, they are beginning to really feel the strain, and they're calling for more help from the European Union. And I think that even though most of the Ukrainians we've spoken to say that they hope to be able to return home to Ukraine soon, there is no sign of this war ending anytime soon, and so Poles are beginning to plan for the long term, how to shelter people, how to integrate them within Polish society in the long term. And that, of course, is a completely different question than the temporary shelter that they've had to give up until now.